Episode 10, season 42. Here we are. Gideon, what are we called?
The Survivor Boofs.
Yes. And what show are we here to talk about?
Survivor,
Yes. Ding, ding,
not Big
ding.
Brother Canada. Okay.
Nope. That's tomorrow night,
Oh right.
right?
I
Yes.
don't keep up with that. I don't know.
What do you think? I forgot to ask before the episode. What do you think? I tried hanging the three most recent buffs up on the wall. What do you think?
I gotta buy them, bro. I gotta buy the merch buff. I'm not sure I'm gonna do what I did last season. 41, I got a little hype and just decided, hey, I'm gonna buy every buff that comes out. This season, I'm like, I'll buy the merch buff. Sure.
Yeah.
Not sure I want to buy the tribe buffs because they're pretty similar to 41. So
Yeah. Yep. I just figured maybe it'd be a cool thing. I'll always have the three most recent seasons. So Winners at War, 41, 42. And then
there you go.
one to five up there on the top rack. I don't know if you guys can see that, but cool. Well, we're here to discuss episode 10, the Fallout episode from everyone's favorite tribal of the season. The thing that has probably split the fans most apart this season, I think, was last week's tribal. It was similar. The only thing I could maybe compare it to was like the Ricard dropping guys thing from season 41, but that was so early in the season. Most people forgot about it within 2 episodes, but I think everyone forgot about it by what, final 6, final 7.
Yeah, everybody loved Ricard again after that. It was fun.
Yeah. And we'll get into it, but like they really didn't mention it like at all this episode. Like,
No, it wasn't. It wasn't really mentioned. They put it behind them, and I think that's the best way to go about the situation. Is moving forward. It happened. Let's play the game.
yeah. I mean, besides Marianne finding the idol, which we'll get to, she was kind of absent from the episode, and then Drea was almost like Romeo had more screen. Romeo and Lindsay both had like triple screen time than
Yeah, I
Drea.
noticed this was a big episode for Lindsay for sure. And as she got her first confessional, I was like, oh crap, are they finally letting her talk? I still hope she's not the winner because she's been so severely under edited, but at least she's getting something. Like, please,
Yeah.
Lindsay.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't want Lindsay to win, not because they don't like Lindsay, but just because she's probably had the worst edit, even more so than Romeo. To be honest, at least
I just
Romeo,
think we all have PTSD from Erica and just don't
yeah,
want it to happen again.
yeah, yeah. The one thing about this season is like, I don't like, I wouldn't hate like when Erica won. I was like, really? But like if Lindsay or Romeo won, I don't think I would be. I feel like everyone's been getting at least somewhat of an edit, but like compared to like Omer, or compared to Mike or Drea, like Lindsay and Romeo just have not gotten any edit love, and even high before
Right.
this episode. So, well, if you guys were in New York over the last couple of days and are watching this show, I'm assuming we met you, or maybe we were so cool and intimidating you didn't want to come up and say hi. But
Fair
I
enough.
assure you, we are cool. We're just not intimidating. But no, okay. Joking. But we did get to hang out with Bryce and Wendell, so shout out to them for putting on yet another great event. They pretty much do watch parties for every episode of the seasons at this point. They have one next week in Philly, and then 2 weeks in Hoboken, which I was gonna ask. We should maybe go to that one. I think Fair Play is technically hosting that one, but
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see, Adam. I
yeah.
don't know. I have PTSD.
And then the finale is in L.A. for Bryce and Wendell, so might not be able to make that one, but maybe next year.
No.
Um, but did have a super fun time at their events. They got a good group of survivors together. It wasn't like premiere crazy. It was We got to meet Evie. We got to meet Tiffany in person. We've had her on the show before. We've talked to Tiffany a bit, like over the phone and on Instagram and like over social media. But it was the first time meeting Tiffany. First time meeting Sydney in person. No one from 42 was there. Not one single 42. We promise.
Didn't see anyone.
Didn't see
nobody.
anyone from 42.
I met no one.
Yep. Chanel was definitely not there. Other than that, some of the usual suspects, Bryce Wendo. Anyway, that was a great show. The following night, Wednesday, Rob has a podcast. Oh, and we got to meet Rob. Cesarnino in person. The following night, Rob hosted an RHAP live watch event. That was cool. Couldn't make that one, but am I disconnected?
Your camera is. But
Oh man, not my camera. Well, I'll finish. There we go. I'll finish my thought. My thought was got to meet Prettium in person, so that was cool. Didn't even know he was coming. It was a surprise. But it was cool. The only thing that was kind of weird was like I got to chill with the survivors at the watch, like at the viewing for RHAP, and I was like, oh cool, I get to sit with all the survivor guys. But they put us in the very front, all the way on the far left, so it was like a movie theater, like staring up like this the whole time. But it was cool. I still got to enjoy it. Yeah, what were you have any like overall thoughts on the episode? I definitely don't think there's as many talking points as the previous, but
yeah, I mean, it was pretty straightforward. Overall, I thought it was a good episode, but as soon as Hai's name was mentioned, I was pretty convinced that he was going home. Then package that with the whole his backstory being introduced, and you famously texted me, "Oh, well, Hai's gone," and you were right.
yeah,
and also like, yeah, it was just pretty straightforward. It was Omar controlling per usual. Lindsay got screen time. That's great.
yeah. I have a thing where
idol.
I have a thing now where anytime we see someone's backstory, I text Gideon. Well, that person's gone.
Right.
And we hadn't seen Hai's. And like this reminds me of the Shan vote in a lot of ways, because Shan was also episode 10. It was immediately following the double elimination.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, I don't think Hai is in as like I don't know, because like Shan felt like she was controlling the game, but not like Rob in Redemption Island, or not like, Jeremy in Cambodia or Kim in One World. We're like, oh, they're controlling the game and no one knows it. She was controlling the game and everyone saw it. And I was like, there's no way.
Right.
But Hai was in a great spot, and it felt a little anticlimactic, him going home. They added that like thing at the end where Omer's like, oh, maybe let's do Jonathan tonight.
Red herring galore, bro. No chance that was happening at all.
Yeah, they always, they always got to add that little distraction in there. To
make you're right. They need something, to make you think it's not that. But
yeah, I mean, was it just me? If you're watching this live, tell me in the chat. Did you think Hai was going home pretty much as soon as the immunity challenge ended? Because I think me and everyone in the audience did. Another thing too, like I wanted to ask, have you heard anything about a boot list, like a leaked boot list?
I have not heard anything about that.
Yeah, I haven't either, but yeah, Christian thinks it was, or Fire 03117 thinks it was an obvious episode. Christian said, hey guys, hello Christian, as normal, as is tradition. Before the episode started, Rob Cesarnino came up to the stage and asked, there's probably 200 people in attendance, asked, who do we think's going home tonight? And like 20 people went, hi. I was like, why is everyone saying hi? And then Hai went home, and I was like, oh, there must have been a leaked boo list. Like, there's no way. There's no way. No, I didn't hear any other names. I only heard Hai. Maybe like one or two Jonathans. And man, I don't know if you saw that like video that got leaked, or not leaked, but that's going somewhat viral on Survivor Twitter. about Jonathan losing the immunity challenge and everyone cheering. But man, and we'll get to the challenge, but man, people really have lost all like any sort of love that there was for Jonathan after last episode, or like the tribal council episode has just vanished. I mean, and it's every time he almost lost in a challenge, like half the crowd, if not more, in the attendance was like, yeah. And then when he would recover, it'd be boo. I was like, man, is he really that unpopular already?
Haters gonna hate, man.
Yeah. Yes, it was in a movie theater. Well, yeah, I guess it was a movie. He rented out like a movie theater, like not a whole theater, just one room. But yeah, it was a very cool experience. I know we mentioned Jonathan and like, what percent chance does he have of winning? Would you say?
Zero.
Zero?
Zero.
Is it
Yeah,
even one?
zero.
It's even point
No.
something. It's zero.
No, it's zero.
Yeah. Well, like the only person who was like seemed. I mean, Omer was tight with him. Like, I guess on a social level, like on a ally level, but like, um, we never really saw Omer and Jonathan like click as far as like strategic stuff goes. They were like they're like the odd couple of the season. But when it comes to like strategy and moves, they're not Fishback and JT. They're not plotting, these fancy. Omer's plotting them alone. The only person we ever really saw Jonathan talk closely with was Lindsay.
I
And
know.
that whole thing with him wanting to vote out Drea, but tell Drea Marianne, but don't tell Tori. That clearly sat with Lindsay, as it
I
would
was
most people. But man, she wants him gone.
Nah, I was telling my friend this. I was like, even if he won out, still don't think he would win because, like, what strategic or social game can he even make an argument for?
I mean, maybe a little social. I mean, he's tied with Omer. He's tied with Mike. I think he's tight with Marianne. Yeah. Yeah.
That didn't seem that way last episode, but okay.
Well, he was really only against Drea in the tribal. I don't know. He's tight with Mike and Rocks, and he was cool with Rocks, and he did not vote Rocks out. So Rocks probably likes him a lot better than Omer and
He might get
Mike.
one vote from Roxroy.
I wouldn't be surprised if Mike voted for Jonathan.
We'll see.
I'm not saying he will, and I agree. I think zero. I think Romeo is the only person who has less of a chance to win. The only way Jonathan wins is if somehow the final three is him, Romeo, and Lindsay, and then Lindsay just butchers it, and Jonathan like apologizes for what happened 2 tribals ago, and like says he's learned a lot and like really kills it. That to me, that's the only way he wins. So I'll say 0.5% chance. So a little bit. I'll go a little higher than you, but I think it's basically
say 0.5. Yeah, sure.
It's basically zero. I'll say 0.4, so it's like rounded to zero. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What Romeo also zero.
Romeo's a 0 too. Yeah.
Lindsay, I would have said like 10 last episode. Now, like, I mean, I think
I'm scared it will be.
Someone said at Rob's thing, because they did a Q&A or something, and someone said she was the only person in Survivor history to win individual reward and individual immunity in the same week. But is that true? That can't be true.
I don't.
But no one
I don't
disagreed with her. No one said like you're wrong, and no one was like, "Oh, you're totally right." Everyone just kind of didn't say anything. Yes, yeah. So Romeo also 0. Would you say?
I wouldn't say 0. I would say 3.
Oh wow, that was a big talk of Rob's panel. The panel, by the way, was Bryce, Wendell, Rob, Tiffany, Evie, Jamal, and Victoria was there as well.
What a group.
Yes, and so we actually talked for Romeo quite a bit, but pretty much everyone was like, "Yeah, this." Actually, the last question I think of the Q&A was, "What could Romeo do to save his game at this point?" And I think everyone just collectively was like, "Yeah, nothing. There's nothing." Um, uh, like I said, they really didn't mention last night's tribal, so I don't know. Well, like while we're on the topic of what people's chances are, I don't know if last night's tribal like affected, like okay, last night's and sorry, two episodes ago's tribal, episode 9's tribal affected Jonathan's chance of winning like the fan favorite. But I don't know if it affected his chance of winning. I think it was already low. I don't think he lost any jury votes because of that. Did you?
No, I don't think it
Maybe
lost jury
Drea?
votes.
Maybe.
I'm just saying there's no way they'd give that kind of edit to a guy who won.
Unless he goes on some sort of like redemption changed
Right.
man path, which we
Like,
didn't see at all.
Yeah.
Which we didn't see at all this episode.
Right.
But the fact that episode 9 Strabo wasn't brought up at all in this episode,
I would want to move past that too, to be fair.
Well, it just goes to show that the fan reaction was way more visceral and heated than the people on the island, unless they didn't show it. I mean, we only have we can only see what the editors show us, so
right.
we don't exactly know. Yeah, Jonathan has no power controlling the votes. That's absolutely true. And yes, Romeo. If Romeo somehow took out Omer, then maybe. But the thing is, Omer is. And I'm just going to give him MVP for the 4th week in a row for me right now, because I don't. There's no way it's anyone else. The thing with Omer is like no one knows that he's in control. We do, which is great now. But come final tribal council, I know like right now, every fan is thinking no matter what, if Omer makes it to final tribal council, he's winning the game. But what people don't understand is this isn't like Ricard when he got out Chantel. Omer, with these moves he's been doing, people don't realize on the islands, from what we've seen, that he's the one behind them. So just because he gets to final tribal council with all these big moves, if they don't see it, and it's not like he can just laundry list, oh, I did this move, I did this move. People can be like, well, no, you didn't. Or I did that too. You know what I mean? You have to... You know what I mean? If Omar doesn't give a good speech, I could see him losing to a Drea, maybe even a Marianne, a Mike. So
perhaps.
So, but yes, Omer is just killing it. Just killing it.
Yeah, Omer's just taking absolute control. I don't see how he doesn't win.
Well, I think the only way he doesn't win is if he just butchers tribal council, like Stephen Fishback and Tocantins level of butchery.
Right. It would be tough. Now, Rick Devens made a decent point on Twitter that was people might be bitter about the fact that he is lying as people are getting voted out, like lying to people's faces. Like, Hai doesn't know that Omer lied to Mike about Hai saying that stuff, so maybe if he found out about that, that would lose him votes. But I would hope that this cast would respect good gameplay.
I hope so too.
I mean, do you think they would be bitter about stuff like that?
I mean, certain people, but I don't think I think most would not be.
Okay.
If they owned up to it. They're like, yeah, I lied.
I lied, and I'm sitting here at the end, and you're not.
Right. Didn't want to jump over the fact that Marianne found an idol early on. And I'm going to propose a theory here that I haven't heard yet.
That Drea's going to steal her idol?
No. And and to anyone listening, I'm not saying that this is what I believe. I'm just throwing the possibility out there into the ether.
It's
Is there
CGI.
is there any chance? I'm asking. I'm asking. I'm not saying. I'm asking. Is there any chance that they gave her idol back?
No.
Not in the sense of like, hey, here's your idol back, but in the sense of they felt bad that she gave up her idol when she like didn't have to for like Survivor, strategic reasons. And so when they saw her looking for one, they just hid it in that area, knowing she would probably find it because she
In
found
plain
it
sight.
in plain sight. There was no digging. There was no clue, and then there was no risk. There was no like you lose.
I'll say
something,
this
no
much, Adam. I'll say this much. I think they hid it in plain sight with the thought that Marianne could find it because it is hidden in plain sight.
Maybe because we did see Lindsay walk. We actually didn't see Lindsay walk past it. We saw Lindsay looking, and then it cut to a shot of the idol in a tree. But we didn't actually see Lindsay next to the idol in the same shot. You, as an editor, I know you can easily show someone walking, cut to the tree. It's action reaction, and people will. Well, that's called a people will associate those two things and think, "Oh, Lindsay walked past it, so she could have found it." Well, that's not necessarily true. Again, I'm not saying this is what I believe. I'm just throwing it out there, like, you know what I mean? Because they might have felt bad, like, oh, Lindsay did all the phrases, the hiding, all that for this idol, and then she gave it away for like you could say like, oh, something bigger than the game or something admirable. And that's fine. I'm just saying, they might as a Survivor purist. They might. Oh man, I dropped my camera again. As a Survivor purist, they might have been like, oh, the purist fans are gonna be like, oh, that was a waste of an idol. Let's give her one without giving her one. So what do you think? Have I convinced you, or is there no chance?
No, you haven't convinced me. I stick with what I said, that they hid it in plain sight, hoping that someone like Marianne would find it.
Yeah. And what an upgrade. Because she now
has an idol that nobody else knows about.
That no one knows about. So we get a challenge in the rain, which I love. My favorite challenges are like in the rain or at night. Challenges that seem like, oh, this is different. But I don't know. Kind of went an easy route with the ball throw one, the first one. Lindsay, it's funny. Lindsay wins and she picks Omar. One note I wanted to make was, I love how Survivor pick like the process of picking people to go with you in reward challenges. And like old school Survivor, it was like whatever. It was like just pick who you like the best. But then it was like who you're aligned with. And then finally, like once the shift to new school Survivor came, it was like, oh, they picked that person. It was strategic. It's like, oh, you can't pick that person because then everyone will know they're your number one. It was, and then people were like kind of losing challenges on purpose and stuff. And now it's like all you got to do is just make up some like bullshit like, oh, he hasn't won oh, I promised him I would take him. All you got to do is make up a seemingly diplomatic lie. It's just kind of funny, the evolution of picking people on challenges. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
But yeah, I don't know. It just seemed like an easy challenge. I hate to say easy because like I'm not the one out there, and I know they're starving. But like, I don't know. It just made my chair descend. I don't know. Would you rather them? And I feel like part of it this season is the fact that they're not giving that much food. If you notice, like this and last season, the challenges were so basic. Maybe it's because there's just little food. I don't know. Would you, as a fan, would you rather watch them starve and have super basic challenges, or them get like a little bit of food and nicer rewards and rice, but then the challenges be like super epic. Like, what would you prefer?
Obviously, I'd rather have the latter, but because of COVID, apparently there's been restrictions on the challenges and things like that. So I'm hoping in 43 maybe those challenges get a little better. I am stoked for next episode challenge, the one where they have to have their back on the cross and like hang there, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that one's sick. And I think if Jonathan doesn't win that challenge, I mean, that's like handmade for Jonathan. That's just like back strength.
Right. Right. The loved ones thing was very cool. I thought Omer's lie was great, because not only was it a great lie, got out the person he wanted by turning allies on each other, but he didn't wait till they got back. He didn't do it right before tribal. He did it when it was like, how can you lie after a loved one's visit? It was not only a great lie in content, it was a great lie in timing. If Omer wins, based on what we've seen and can expect from future episodes, if he wins, is he a top 5 newbie winner?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's up there with Earl. I think he's up there with Tony. I think he's up there with Kim Spradlin. I mean,
yeah, and we might not have even seen his biggest move yet. Is he a top 10 all-time winner if you include returnees?
Perhaps.
Sanders, Parvati, Tony,
maybe
Jeremy. Yeah,
maybe.
Rob.
I mean, show me a flaw in his game.
It's been a perfect game thus far.
It's flawless.
The only
hasn't received a vote yet, by the way.
Yeah, the only thing that you can maybe say is like just terrible at challenges, but so was
he's
Tony.
not even that bad, to be fair. He's better. He's lasting longer than Tony, about to say.
Yeah. Yeah, so high.
Wait for the late stages when it gets down to a puzzle, Adam.
Right.
We'll see.
Yeah. High, yeah, him going home. It's just like, I'm trying to remember when the last time that we've seen like an obvious
Christian said he doesn't have idols or advantages. Here's my thing, Adam. I
would argue that might be better.
I think that's better. And I think I respect the games the most in which they don't even need the idols or advantages.
Right.
They just rely on their strict social and strategic gameplay. They don't even need it.
Like, imagine if the final 3 is like someone that's not going to win, like Romeo and Jonathan, or Jonathan, and then the other final 2 are Drea and Omer. Drea can say, you know, oh, I got, and let's say in the next couple episodes, because she hasn't used anything yet. I mean, she did use the one idol successfully, but she still has knowledge is power, a now more powerful amulet now that High's gone. What, an extra vote and a steal a vote? It's almost kind of hard to track everything that she has. So, but let's say she does use all of her toys in her favor and gets her to the end. Omer could be like, hey, I got to the end and I didn't have to use anything. All I used was my whip.
My dad did this on an org and he won that org. He went, the jury was like, so like you didn't use any idols or advantages the whole season, and he went, I didn't even look because I didn't need them. Right. You know, and I think Omer can say something along those lines.
Right. Yeah, shout out to John McManus.
Trent
McManus.
He did what I couldn't.
Yeah, you were the fort. You were the Devons.
I was the Devons. I was the Devons.
I thought maybe there was a chance that High played his shot in the dark just based on the editing, because they really did a good. It was weird because to us it was like honestly the easiest vote of the whole season. You know what I mean? Like, I never thought there was a chance Jonathan was
pretty much unanimous. Really solidified that Romeo's on the bottom, but yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, why do you think Romeo voted for for Jonathan.
He's just not getting information from him, I think.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I could think is that Romeo was worried that if High, because remember, High was telling people that he had found an idol. So maybe Romeo was worried, like, oh, shoot, if High plays an idol, maybe the person with the next most votes goes home. And hey, maybe there's a vote on, maybe they split the votes, High and me voting would, I mean, I don't know. We never really there's been a couple votes where we don't know why Romeo voted the way he did, and then we learn in the next episode, or at least he tells us why the next day. Sometimes it's kind of hard to believe it if you listen to it the next day, but um, this is slowly not being Survivor 42 anymore. It's basically just slowly becoming who does Omer want to go home.
Yeah, it's a little scary the hold he has on people. That's why, like you said, if he wins, I don't know, man. Is there a game that's been played better for a newbie? Yeah, probably, but we'll see. Let it finish out.
I mean, High went home for one reason, and that reason is because Omer wanted him to go home. Like no one was saying High until Omer said, "I want High gone." No one.
Yeah.
Certainly not Mike. Certainly not Jonathan. Romeo and Lindsay have been invisible.
Is Omer on people's radar?
I don't think so.
As the puppeteer,
I don't think he's on anybody's. Do you?
No, I don't think they are picking up on that.
Let's see. Fire asked a question. Could Omer's flaw be over lying if that's a
well,
thing?
I mentioned that, yeah.
If High and Mike are at Ponderosa, I don't. It's weird because like sometimes we hear people be like, "Oh, they won't let us talk at Ponderosa," but then it's not really enforced. So I don't know. It's kind of tough. I mean, here's the thing. I don't think High would be mad. I think High would appreciate a lie. Mike might be the one that's mad, but I don't know if Omer's style of gameplay is particularly the thing that would get a Mike vote. So
I agree with Josh in the live chat that he'll have to articulate the moves he made and make people realize that he was controlling the vote. Like he will have to point out to Mike, I lied to you. I lied to you and said that High was going for you and he wasn't because I wanted, High out. And he'll be like, talking about him using Jonathan and, everybody else. So
he'll have to be taught.
Yep.
In fact, that was actually another question at Rob's thing was someone said, "You got how would you compare? Let's say Romeo continues, or let's say Omer continues on the path he's going on and controlling votes, but not in a obvious way."
Mm-hmm.
Then a tribal council made everybody aware of those. We were like all trying to remember at Rob's event as that happens, and we thought of the only ones we could really think of was Todd and maybe a little bit of Kim. One person that I didn't think of till after that question was asked was maybe like Sarah in Game Changers, but she really wasn't like controlling the votes. So it'll be interesting. But all right, let me see if I can pull up our fantasy teams, and I believe High
was my first pick.
Was the first pick of the entire draft. Oh, is it going to do the thing where
he played a good game, to be fair.
Where it's stuck on preview? I wonder why it does that. I'm going to have to email it to you.
Go ahead.
Let me try one more time. Share. What did Christian just ask in the group chat? In the live chat?
Who do you think will participate in the next immunity challenge for Do or Die Twist?
Ooh, that's a good one. That is a good question.
I think Jonathan.
For sure.
Me thinks Jonathan.
For sure.
Me thinks Romeo, since he's on the outs and needs it.
Show.
My prediction: Romeo goes out, do or die.
Yeah, I can see that.
However, I could see Mike going out on do or die.
Yeah, I hope that they get rid of it. I hope this is the last do or die we ever see.
I never want to see that crap ever again.
What would you get rid of if you had to between do or die and hourglass?
Honestly, do or die.
Interesting.
I hate it more than the hourglass.
Yeah, that I agree, Josh. I don't think she dictated. She was kind of like always inserting herself as like being the swing vote a little bit. I mean, maybe Wendell in a way, because Dom was like, Dom was the one that everyone saw. He was the flashy person, and then Wendell kind of, yeah, I don't know. So I've taken the lead, which like for the last 5 episodes, or 6 episodes, we keep trading who's in the lead, so that's cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's pretty tight, dude.
That's the weird thing about do or die. It's impossible to predict. Yeah. If so, okay. So I think Mike. Well, if you sit out of do or die, do you get anything? Do you get like a food or something? I forget.
No, I just think you get the
Okay.
knowing that you won't go home because of a dice roll.
Right. It's almost impossible to predict who's gonna say, because the people that did it last time, I wasn't my picks. So I don't know, but if you had to guess the final three, what would you pick?
Omer, Mike.
I thought you said you think Mike's going home next week.
He could, but I think it'll be Romeo.
Oh, okay.
Omer, Mike, and I think Omer would love to sit next to Mike because he's controlled Mike now. And then I'll say Marianne as the 0 vote finalist.
You think Marianne gets 0 votes?
Yep.
I mean, that would be a great final three. Omer, Mike, Marianne. I'm going to say...
It's stacking up to be a great final three no matter what.
Yeah, I'm going to say Mike, Lindsay, and Romeo.
Yeah, so, I mean, I could definitely see Romeo going to final three because it is getting to the point in the game where you're thinking about who you want to sit next to, so...
Yeah, I think I'm picking Drea or Lindsay for this next week, for this next episode, or possibly Marianne. And then after that, I think everyone's going to gun for Jonathan because they don't want him to get the final 5. I could see Marianne or Drea being that 5th person. And I think Fire is probably going to be like Omer, like a Romeo and Omer. Fire, Romeo wins. But it's not enough to save his game. Yeah, I'm thinking Omer's just. I just don't think Omer's gonna win. I want him to win, root for him to win, but I think if that's the final 3, Romeo gets no votes. Who else? What I say? Lindsay gets like 1 or 2, and Mike gets like 7.
Well, here's the thing: Omer's coming back.
Yeah, of the people remaining, I feel like Omer could come back. Marianne could come back. I mean, Jonathan, I would have said, but maybe they don't want him to come back after the negative fan reaction from 2 weeks ago.
They're trying to cancel my man Jonathan.
I mean, if Mike wins, he's coming back for like a winter season for sure. So, what's Christian said? Drea can steal Mike's idol. That's absolutely right. So Drea, if she wanted, could have an idol, and then if Lindsay goes home, she would have 2 idols. In which case, she could play an idol at Final 6 and a Final 5, and guarantee a spot at Final 4.
Fair enough.
And Fire said odds on Jonathan chokes and goes out and do or die. It's not impossible. It's not impossible. Romeo is the only GOAT. No one is going to vote him out or vote for him to win. I think Jonathan also is almost GOAT territory at this point, but
Jonathan's closing in on GOAT territory.
yeah. All right, cool. Next week, the plan is to have Coach Drew and Emily from Survivor Hot Takes, Reality Hot Takes, here on the show to help us recap. Sorry that it was a Friday that we tried to do it the day after, but a couple scheduling issues. But yeah, that's all we have for you guys. Like the video, please. It helps us tremendously. Subscribe if you haven't. We do recaps after the season. We have interviews lined up with at least half of the cast. Don't forget that after season 41, the first season we covered, of every Survivor podcast, which at this point is at least 50 out there, we were the one, just saying, not bragging here, but we were the one that had the most exit interview, like post-season interviews. We had 2 more than Arhap. Just saying. I mean, he had the exit interviews, so technically he wins. But
we're the real winners.
Yeah, we're the real MVPs. No, but so subscribe to us so you don't miss those, because I think this is going to be a super, super fun cast to talk to after the season. So subscribe so you don't miss it. And other than that, live long and prosper.